What's going on, everyone? This is Jordan with Conquer Trading and Investing, and you're looking here at a chart of the S&P 500. Right now, we're going to take a look at the charts. We're going to take a look at the technicals. We're going to plan out what is ahead, and we're going to review what has transpired today. All right, everyone, let's drop down right now. We're going to start. Let's look at a 4-hour chart just so we could kind of review everything that has occurred in the past 24 hours. In the past 24 hours, we had the FOMC. We had the ECB. Yesterday, we had a nice breakout above this strong resistance over at 28.89. You could see it over here. Here was the FOMC. We continued up right into the resistance. Now, I had this resistance line at 29.84. That was put in about 100 points before we reached to it. You could see after we reached the high over there, I saw that the low over here, where the wicks came down, the resistance over here, and I just moved this to where the current market structure is. Now, support and resistance lines are our guidelines. As the market continues to flow, we need to go ahead and flow with it. All right, where does that leave us now after this bullish breakout above the 28.89 resistance yesterday? We've come back down into the nearest resistance and have since come back down, and we're now testing that breakout, that 288.9 resistance. Now, there's a lot that I want to cover in this video. There's a lot that's really important. We're going to get to it. We're going to cover it all before we start looking forward. Now, this is not hindsight. This is what happened. Obviously, we've been monitoring this in real time before things have transpired. We've discussed them. If you got long over here yesterday morning, or if you got long over here yesterday after this break of resistance, or after it was tested successfully and then it resumed up, if you got long yesterday when holding this trade, obviously you have to manage that trade. Just because we flip to a bullish bias does not mean that you continue to hold the trade, hoping that it continues to go into profit. You're talking from here to here, you're talking 70 points, right? From this level to this level, you're talking 60 points. From 29.30 to 20, you're talking another 40 points. What happens when you come into resistance? What happens? How do you manage a trade once you come into heavy resistance? You have to look to see whether or not it's going to consolidate and or push through, or be rejected. How do you know if it's being rejected? You have to watch. You have to see if it starts resuming downwards, right? You can have a couple of trend lines over here, right? If you were monitoring this and you saw this trend line break, come up, test, and it held as resistance, and then comes back down below this lighter resistance we had at 29.47, you have to exit your trade. And if you still held, and then you have another line of trend line over here you could put in. You break below it. What happens when you break below it? Come back up, retest it, can't break it back above. This broken support is now resistance as you start making lower lows. You have to exit at 29.30, break even from the last entry possible. To go ahead and say that we now have a bullish bias and that you're going to take a long a buy side trade and then continue holding that is not how you trade. Nor just because you have a bullish bias, does that mean the market has to keep going up. That means you're still trading both ways, but now you have more of a bullish bias in the market. That's all it means. Since we've taken out this resistance here at 28.89, it is now support. That support is being tested right now, right? You cannot get bearish until we break that out. And yes, I can go from bullish, and if we take out this support, flip back to a bearish bias just like that. And you better be able to do that too if you want to be a trader. And no, just going ahead, buying and holding, you're not going to make more points than being a swing trader, trading in and out of the markets. Those that were following, I got long down here after 3 attempts at 21.80, between 21.80 and 22.10 or 22.09, and I rode that up until I got out of my trade. You're not going to make more points buying and holding than you are going to be, because if you're buying and holding, you're just still hoping and praying that we come back and make new highs. And if that's your bullish bias, you're missing out on how to trade. I am a swing trader. That means I'm looking for what's happening, generally speaking, throughout the next 1 to 5 days. That I do a good job being able to find out where we are and what's happening next. I cannot predict what is going to happen next week, next month, and especially 3 months from now. Now, I could have my opinions. I could try to put together what's going on and figure out what is going to happen next. But anyone who believes that they know where the market is going to be 1 month or 3 months from now really needs to take a look at what they're doing over here. Now, the question remains, right now you have a battle. We're at a battle line. Do not forget, this is the line drawn in the sand. We've looked at it. This is the battle line between the bears and the bulls. Above this line, I have a bullish bias. Is it possible now that we trade below this? And if we do I start taking a short? No. Yes, it's possible we trade below it. If we do trade below that overnight, I'm not going to go ahead and take a short. Here's what I'm looking at. I'm drawing in this little guide for myself now. I'm connecting a trend line over here, right? I'm still holding my bullish bias until we break below 28.52 at this point. I believe that it's possible that we trade down to here, come into this trend line and or this support, and are able to go ahead and trade up from there. If we break below 28.52 right now, and that's not to say that we won't wind up trading much higher, and up higher I won't change to a bearish bias, but as the market currently stands, I'm looking right now 24 hours out through the trading overnight until the close of New York tomorrow as we go into the weekend. I am holding my bullish bias. I am neutral. I do not have a position. I'm not even looking to enter into a position right now. I am watching what happens now that the market broke up above this resistance over here at 28.89. It's been rejected and it's coming up and testing it. I still have a very much bullish bias. Do you have to? No. I also see this trend line over here. I'm watching this trend line. This trend line that goes back from over here was into play over here, here. Again, earlier this week, holding as support. I really have to get below that trend line and maybe even 28.09 for me to believe that we're accelerating to the downside. So right now, I have a bullish bias. It could slip neutral as we trade below 28.52, and it won't be bearish until we're below 2800. That does not mean in the meantime I can't trade both sides of the market. I can trade both sides of the market. I do trade both sides of the market, and right now I'm simply neutral, waiting to see what happens next. If you don't think neutral is a position, you should really get in the habit of being neutral more often. If you believe that you always need to be in the market to make money, I'm sure you're going to always continue losing money. That's not how it's done. How it's done is waiting for something to develop, for something clear to develop, and then coming in and taking advantage. If you remember, the last clear thing that was in the market was really the break of this trend line over here. Then we had a couple of trades long. They weren't as clear. They were more intraday trades. Over here as well, a couple more intraday trades. What am I watching right now? Let's come down. Because of the time of day, let's look at the 1 hour. All right, I see right now, again, you have to learn how to manage your trades. You have to learn how to manage your trades. And the whole purpose of this is to give you insight, to help you as I go over my charts and analyze them for my own benefit, to share that and impart that on you so you can learn to do it for yourself. If I have a bearish or a bullish or bias, that does not mean go ahead and buy or sell the market and just that you expect to continue, that it's going to go in that direction. Absolutely not. That's not how it works whatsoever. But I am going to share with you how it works in real time as things develop. Where are we looking now? This support over here is holding. Am I interested in going ahead and stepping in and looking to buy over here off this support at this time of day? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. As a matter of fact, I have my lines right now. Right? As long as we're holding above this trend line, I have a very bullish bias. Above support at 28.89, even more bullish. If we lose this trend line over here, I believe that we're going to have it tested at 28.52. If that breaks, at that point, I'm watching what happens here, and then I turn very neutral and below 2800. And when I say neutral, it doesn't mean I won't take a short. When I say neutral, it does not mean that if we come up and at the right time of day, come up and test that broken support. It holds as resistance, and as we break below this trend line, that I don't look between 28.40 and 28.10, right? A little over 1% or 30 points to go ahead and take some money out of the market. Absolutely, I'm interested in that. But for me to really become bearish now is going to take a break of 2,800. At that point, a break of 2,800, I think we start accelerating to the downside, and that will bring into play perhaps 26, 28. Right now, here's where I am. I am neutral. I'm watching the market. I am going to wait. The next possible time that I will take a trade will either be pre-market tomorrow or upon the market opening the first half hour. Right now, I am neutral. We just had a big break of resistance, turn support, came up into the next higher resistance, and now have come off. You could see the volatility here. I'm going to give the market a chance to settle in, to find a new range, to give me the opportunity to get a clearer view of what's next before I look to attack. That's how you do it. It's a game of patience. All right, everyone. Hope that was helpful for you. I know it is for me. I like having a plan. I'm very flexible with my plans, meaning the market is an ongoing flow of information. I can't expect to have a firm position that I'm not looking as things develop further to go ahead and change them. My bullish bias remains very much intact below 28.89. This does not mean I'm looking to buy right now. As a matter of fact, I am not looking to buy right now. I am neutral, waiting, and watching. The question remains right now, we have a lot of people talking about what's next. A lot of people maintaining their bearish bias. I have a student of mine sent over some beautiful charts of the Dow and of the NASDAQ, talking about how their bearish wedge, a rising wedge, is still intact. Is it possible we break down lower? It's entirely possible we break down lower. It's entirely possible we continue making new highs from here. At this point, I have a bullish bias. I had a bullish bias off the lows over here, all the way up until we broke down outside of this wedge. And then I changed to a bearish bias, right? And then I waited until we broke this resistance over here. We have now turned it into support. I now have a bullish bias once again. That will flip again, perhaps, if we do trade lower. But right now, I have a strong bullish bias in the market, and I expect that we trade up from here. That's how I'm looking to trade it. Right now, there's no trade. Right now, neutral is the trade. We need a little bit more information. Hopefully by tomorrow morning, we have a much better read on the market, and maybe there's opportunity for an intraday trade Friday morning. We will see. I look forward to sharing more with you all tomorrow. If anyone wants to join us for the live stream, go ahead and join the Telegram group in the description below. You will be alerted when we go live. Look forward to it. Have a great day, everyone. I'll talk to you later.